Welcome back to Goo Roo Beauty. I am Jodi and today I'm doing a video all about hair removal. I've been sent several products over the summer months that I want to really contrast and compare and review for you guys. One of these products was particularly highly requested, so I wanted to share with you what my experience has been. The products that I'm sharing with you today are first of all a shave gel that I was sent. This is from Gillette. It's the Satin Care with a touch of Olay Violet Swirl shave gel. It's been a while since I've used a shave gel and I really have enjoyed it. I'll share with you how. Next product is a new razor from Gillette. This is from the Gillette Venus line and this is called the Swirl. The other product that I'm comparing and contrasting for you today is this little newbie. It's the Braun Silk-Pil 9. Given that this is for legs, body and face, it's wet and dry, it's new, I've never used an epilator, I definitely jumped at the chance to review this product and wanted to share with you the things that I've been doing, my thoughts. I'd love to hear from you what your favorite way of removing hair is as well. I think, you know, every female in this world at some point has felt pressure to be like a Barbie doll, to look like a Barbie doll. One thing about Barbie, she's plastic, she's completely smooth. Besides all the lush, voluminous blonde hair on her head, there's no other hair on Barbie's body. Now, we're just not born that way, but I think there is absolutely pressure and a perception of beauty in this Western culture that you really do need to be hairless from here down. I don't necessarily agree with that. I will just say that first up front. If you have hair on your arms, if you have hair on your legs, if you have hair in all kinds of other areas, you are absolutely beautiful. That's the way that you were made, and I don't think that you need to remove all of your hair from the neck down to be sexy, to be beautiful, to be attractive. So I do just want to say that. But if you are interested in hair removal and looking at various methods, then certainly do keep on watching. I have really given the Epilator a run for its money and wanted to share with you my thoughts on these products. So first up, I'll start with the razor. Just a little bit about the Venus Swirl. You do have 5 blades, but you've got a tiny little comb just in front of those blades that helps to sort of pick up the hairs and prop them up so that the blades can effectively cut them. So you're going to get, I think, you know, more hairs with less passes. I think that this is a very effective razor. It retails for $19.99, so you would certainly want it to be. It also has a little moisturizing strip at the back end of the razor, so as you pull that up your leg or across your skin, the last thing to touch your skin is that little moisturizing strip. And then the thing that makes this Venus Swirl really quite special is this little pivot ball. Not only do you have that movement there with the razor, but you also have a very freely pivoting razor head. So wherever you're using this razor, it's going to help sort of move along and hug the skin. You're not having to be a contortionist. You're able to just, you know, use the razor in a comfortable, ergonomic type fashion. And this is going to do the contouring, I guess, for you, the hugs of the contours. You know, the curve of your calf, the curve behind your knee, the curve over the top of your knee, all of those areas. This is going to make that easier. I have really enjoyed using the Venus Swirl razor, and I have particularly really enjoyed using it with the Gillette Satin Care Olay Touch of Swirl Shave Gel. It comes out, there you go, like a gel. The minute that you start sort of spreading it on your leg, it just mousses up. Now this has apparently 4 times the moisturizers that other shave gels have. I do, as I say, love the scent. It really makes shaving just a very pleasant experience. And there's also special ingredients in this particular product that help it stay on your leg. So not only does this serve the purpose of keeping your leg moisturized, hydrated, to give your razor a nice smooth surface to glide over, but it also obviously helps you see very, very easily where you've been and where you need to go. So that really does make this quite special, the way that it sort of stays on your leg even in the shower. And that's going to mean that you spend less time shaving, and the time that you spend shaving is very effective because you're not, you know, you know what areas that you need to cover. Now, I've really enjoyed using that shaving gel, not only with the razor, but also with the epilator. I will just say before I move on to the epilator that exfoliating before is going to really help. So if you do it in the shower, I would say hop in the shower, do the things that you need to do, whether it's shampooing your hair, whether it's cleansing your face, doing anything else. Let your skin sort of get damp, let your pores open up. I would use an exfoliating glove or a loofah, whatever it is that you like to use to exfoliate. Exfoliate first, and that's just going to kind of help to you know, loosen up, I guess, your pores, help to dislodge any hairs that might be just below the surface of the skin. It's going to also help to reduce the chance of ingrown hairs as well. So what I actually did for you guys, just, you know, because I'm very experimental, I like to do, you know, head-to-head trials here, is I actually used the Epilator on one side of my body. I did my leg, my bikini area, I also did my arm, my armpit, and I used the razor on the other, and I'm going to share with you my experience here. I also have used the Epilator on my face, so I will share with you my thoughts on that. So if you don't know what an Epilator is, basically it uses the same technique of hair removal as tweezing or waxing, in that it's supposed to remove the hair from the root. It basically uses like a rotating cylinder in there. It's battery operated, and you turn it on and it rotates, and it almost sort of pinches the hairs and pulls them out as you pull it along. This is not a paid trial at all. It's not a sponsored video at all, but I was sent this product. And what I loved about this is that the results are going to be a lot more longer lasting than a razor. And I think just like waxing or tweezing, the more that you do it over time, the less vigorous the hairs actually grow back. Some of the other claims here that I have here in the press release, and I'll be reading, is that the Braun Silk-Pil 9 removes hairs up to 4 times shorter than waxing, meaning that you can get those long-lasting results without the hassle of having to wait. It also says with the new technology that using the Epilator has become virtually painless, and I will attest to that in various body parts, not all of them. This actually has a 40% wider head that's going to assure that you have even more hairs removed, captured and removed in one stroke. So you want that, you want efficiency, you don't want to spend forever using this thing. Also, it has revolutionary micro grip tweezer technology with wider, longer and deeper tweezers to increase the performance. And then finally, this also says that it has a high frequency massage system to deliver pulsating active vibrations, which combined with the skin adapting pivoting head ensures skin stimulation for not only a better but also a gentler performance. With regular use, epilation becomes virtually painless. So I was really scared of using this. I will say that up front. You saw me in the haul. I was really scared of using this, and when I finally tried it, I started on my leg and I found that it really wasn't that bad. I started with this little head, which is kind of really cool. They call this little head on the Epilator the high frequency massage cap, and it just removes very, very easily. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to. It just snaps on and off. You actually have 2 settings. So one that just goes normally. This is better for gentler areas, and then you actually can turn it up for a faster removal, and that's going to be just a little bit more effective, I guess, at removing hairs. So I've been using that faster one on my arms and my legs, and I've been using the slower one on my face and also my armpits and bikini area. Ooh, the bikini area is one that hurts. The underarm area is an area that hurts. The face was an area that did bring tears to my eyes, but I'll share with you a little bit more about that in a second. But I found that that vibrating head really was fantastic on my legs. Now, many of you, in giving me tips about using the Epilator, was to have my mind on something else, be thinking about something else, and you're kind of distracted from the pain. I really found that to be true, so I'd put on a YouTube video and just watch that while I was doing it. I didn't film my first experience. It just wasn't an attractive thing for you to have to watch, really. But it was great. It really wasn't that painful. I did find that the more that you stretch the skin, so the more that you actually pull the skin taut as you move the Epilator against the direction of growth, that's going to remove more hairs. I did find that I did have to run it over the same area several times. I also had to run it over the same area in different directions to really get an absolutely smooth finish. So I almost felt like I had to spend longer with this than I did with the razor to get that same, you know, complete hair removal. I also found it a challenge to stretch and hold my skin and use the Epilator at the same time. For areas like my arm, I was able to do it with my face, obviously, with my legs, although it's hard to stretch your leg skin. So I wanted to stretch it more, but that was challenging. And then I could also stretch my armpits, and that was relatively easy, but it was a little bit painful, I will say that. Now, some of the other attachments that this comes with, you actually have a little stand that the charging cable plugs into, and you can actually just stand the epilator on the stand. It takes up less room on your vanity or your bathroom cabinet, wherever it is that you may want to charge it. That's nice and easy. It also comes with a little cleaning brush, so you can just clean the little hairs out, and in fact you should clean the little hairs out certainly every time that you use the product. It does come with that little massage cap, which I found to be a really nice one if you are epilating for the first time and you want to get used to it. It does come also with a standard cap. What do they call it? A skin contact cap. It comes also with a trimmer cap. So if you have like a bikini area or an area where the hairs are just too long to epilate, you use the little trimmer cap first of all to remove that. I didn't actually have cause to use the trimmer cap, but really fantastic to know that you can use that. Another thing that many people have recommended that you do is actually use a razor on certain areas, and then just in a day or two, because it really will work on very short hairs, you can use the epilator once you've had, just a couple days growth after using the razor. And then the final attachment is this one. It's called the facial cap, and you can see it sits over most of the cylinder and delivers just a very, very narrow field of hair removal. So this is going to give you a lot of control. I actually found that it just, I wanted to go a lot faster on my face than using the facial cap. So I actually did attempt to remove my peach fuzz around this whole area. I also tried to use it on my upper lip. I also used it around here, my hairline and brow line, and I really did go to town on my face. So so now for the results. On my legs, I found this to be relatively pain-free. I love using it in the shower more than anything. I found that, after 2 days of using the razor on one side and the epilator on the other, my epilator side still felt very, very smooth. The razor side certainly did start feeling a little bit spiky. I let my legs go for, I think it was 12 days. Yes, all in the name of experimentation. And what I found was that I did have certainly significant growth on the side with my razor. On the epilator side, I still had hairs and I still wanted to get to them. I really just wanted to reach for that epilator. I just found that a lot less hairs, like probably a tenth of the amount of, long hairs were growing back on the side that I used the epilator on. Certainly by the 10-day mark, I really wanted to get to both of the legs, but it really was quite remarkable, the difference on the epilator side versus the razor side. And I did end up using the epilator on both sides just to try and get some longer lasting results. I did use this on the bikini area. I found it to be extremely painful. It was very, very helpful to use a little product called bumper razor, and that will help to reduce the chances of ingrown hairs. I did use this on my underarm area, and the experience with my underarms with the razor on one side and the epilator on the other was definitely very similar to the legs. So a lot more regrowth on the razor side than on the non-razor side. That was quite painful, and I just wanted to, it took a bit of getting used to. Then I also used it on my arms. I found that I had to keep going over different areas and in different directions to really effectively remove the hairs. And then despite spending time on my arms, I would see the next day that there were areas that I still hadn't removed hair from. So I found the arms to be quite a challenge. It's very difficult to stretch the skin with one arm and use the epilator when we're only born with two hands. That was one thing, but I've never shaved my arms before. I've never removed hair on my arms before. I have really actually quite enjoyed being smooth like Barbie. Then I wanted to get to the face. Okay, so I had an interesting experience with the face that truthfully I am still recovering from. I have razored my peach fuzz before, and I have waxed maybe just in certain areas, upper lip and brow, but it's been a little while, so to say that I'd be used to it would be a lie. I found this to draw tears to my eyes. I was trying it in different directions, up, down. I was trying to stretch the skin. It was difficult on a hot evening to, to navigate it. I was, my eyes were watering and I started to sweat and I found it difficult, but this is one area that I wouldn't do in the shower. I would recommend using a hot compress, a hot, wet face cloth before you actually do it on your face. And I would also recommend, if you don't mind using it, something like that bump eraser on your face as well, because you know, within a day, 2 days at the most, I just had bumps all over my face. And I think it must just be the ingrown hairs, the hairs just wanting to come back out. Maybe because they're so fine on your face, they have a hard time of actually finding their way out in the right direction. So I really have struggled with, you know, a lot of bumps, ingrown sort of hairs on my face, and that's really not pleasant to deal with. So I think I will probably continue using this, definitely on my legs, definitely on my underarms, probably my arms. I think I'm going to need to take it just a little bit more convincing to use it on my bikini area. And I think I will experiment just a little bit more with my face. If you have any tips for me, please do let me know. In terms of comparing the two products, I found that the Epilator certainly had longer lasting results, as you would expect. I found that the razor was a lot more pain-free, although on the legs and the arms there really wasn't pain with the Braun Silk-Pil 9. I found that the razor does a great job of contouring to your arms and legs. I would say that it was just a much better regrowth with the Epilator, as you would expect, but more to be done in terms of those ingrown hairs. So do be aware of that. Do exfoliate before you actually use it, and I would say continue to exfoliate after you use it, and do think about an ingrown hair preventer type cream. And I think if you are using an Epilator for the first time, just be patient. I would say really make a good effort to just make sure you go over and over and over the areas, try different directions, hold your skin taut. Everyone's pain threshold is different, so for those of you who do have a little bit of a lower tolerance for pain, you could also try using something like Nurofen, maybe taking some ibuprofen before you actually use that. You could use ice as well, just to numb an area, or you could use, as I said, like a hot washcloth just to sort of make the whole area wet, warm, just to help open up those hair follicles, or open up the pores, and just help that removal process be a little bit easier. Please let me know down below if I haven't answered all of your questions. I hope that I have. Please do let me know as well if you have any other tips for exfoliation or using a razor, if you have any favorite products. So that is it from me. I hope that you enjoyed this little different kind of video today. I know many of you really were curious to know what my Epilator experience was like, so I hope that you've enjoyed. Have yourself an absolutely gorgeous day, and please don't forget, whether you are a smooth plastic skinned Barbie or if you are a hairy beast, either way, you are absolutely beautiful. Please don't forget that. It comes from within, and I will see you again really, really soon. Take care. Mwah. Bye.